I do all of our planning financially for Metropolis. I mentioned at the beginning of my post that we have a great accounting team, but I do act as our CFO for the most part. We put in projections for this year that we were very excited about, and we had met most of our revenue and sales projections, which is a huge win for us. And we had been planning these things that went live in 2024 for years. And as the months went on, and the green coffee market, and with the strikes going on as well,
Mhm.
at the ports, continued. We just saw our profits that we, for the first time in many years, we're going to have go out the window. And it felt like I was doing something wrong.
Folks, following on from the success of Mapper Forward's online mastermind groups in 2024, we'll be opening up 3 groups again in January 2025 for new participants. 2 of the groups, Sell More Coffee and Grow Your Coffee Business, will be offered again for people who already have businesses and want to expand their business in a supportive environment during these volatile times in the coffee industry. A new group called Start a Cafe or Roastery will be offered for the first time. This is for people who want to start a cafe or roastery in 2025 or are considering opening a coffee business one day in the future. Groups start the week commencing January 13th, and prices start at $175 per month for 3 months. These mastermind groups have been a game changer for participants in 2024. So whether you're a coffee roaster, producer, cafe owner, or any other kind of business owner in the coffee industry, or you're hoping to be one in the future, head to mapperforward.coffee/group coaching to secure your spot by paying for the first month in advance, or pay the full 3 months up front and get an 11% discount. Spots are limited, so head to our website or click the link in the description and sign up today. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. I'm your host, Lee Safar, and this is episode 1 of a brand new 5-part series, one that I'm very excited about. Joining us for this series is Djerai from Metropolis Coffee in Chicago. Anne is the CEO of Metropolis. And the reason Anne is coming on the podcast is because of a really inspirational and really interesting LinkedIn post that I would encourage everybody to go and read. And welcome to the podcast. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure to be here, Lee. I'm a huge fan. Thanks for having me.
Likewise, I had been watching what you've been doing on LinkedIn for quite some time, waiting for the right moment to invite you onto the podcast. And it took me about 0.3 seconds to send you a message after finishing reading that post.
And I got like a million messages, and I was the most excited to receive yours,
Oh,
believe
thank
me.
you. Folks, it is no surprise to anybody who listens to this podcast on the regular that I find strength in real, honest vulnerability. And if you wouldn't mind telling people about your post so that we can have a baseline for what this discussion is about.
Yeah, absolutely. So, uh, I do all of our planning financially for Metropolis. I mentioned at the beginning of my post that we have a great accounting team, but I do act as our CFO for the most part. We put in projections for this year that we were very excited about, and we had met most of our revenue and sales projections, which is a huge win for us. And we had been planning these things that went live in 2024 for years. And as the months went on, and the green coffee market, and with the strikes going on as well,
Mhm.
at the ports, continued. We just saw our profits that we, for the first time in many years, we're going to have go out the window. And it felt like I was doing something wrong. So I've been
Mhm.
holding a lot in since this started really during the summer. And as we kind of prepare for the end of the year and Christmas time, and, thinking about bonuses, I just felt this level of devastation and exhaustion, and I
Mhm.
saw it on the faces of my team. So I was, having my evening bourbon, and I was lamenting what happened this year, and like, aren't we out of this shit yet? And the answer was
I
no.
wish.
And And so I just posted it. I kind of posted a line of events that occurred and how I felt about it. And I just had no idea that it would resonate the way it did.
And I think it really spoke to the exhaustion that we're all feeling. I feel like you took the breath in the room for everybody. A lot of people were experiencing what you wrote in your post in silence. We're all exhausted. We're all very anxious. We're all happy that there's some transition happening in the industry.
Mhm.
And had the success that we'd received this year happened in other circumstances, maybe we'd be able to enjoy it. But a lot of the successes that people have received on the revenue side of their P&L have been completely eviscerated by the operating expenses of and the cogs of their P&L. And so any excess revenue that they've got, it's not in the bank, it's in somebody else's account.
It's completely true, and I coined the term, creepy cogs or green creep.
I
Those are my
love
2
that.
terms, which a lot of
Nice.
people really liked, but I've been saying those in meetings, and I'm sure my executive team will just take a collective eye roll.
Mm,
But, those cogs did creep up, and I created, like, even kind of a buffer zone,
mm.
and we went way over the buffer zone, and, yeah, I can't imagine what planning could have been better on the other side of that, but yeah, we're all in the same boat.
And you turn around and you think, like, all these people that are like, yes, but stop denying producers all of this money. Folks, it's not, first of all, the producers, all of this money, it's still not covering their cost of production, first of all. Second of all, it's not just the producers whose cost, like the cogs aren't just going up for coffee, they're going up for packaging. Shipping is fucking insane right now.
Oh, shipping is just crazy. And, like just things like credit card processing fees.
Yeah.
We have raised our minimum wage by 40% since
Wow.
2019. Yeah. So we are continuing because we have to be able to keep talent. And it's the right thing to do.
Mm,
Is it the best that it's the best that we can do, but it's like one of those things where I mean we had to. So put all that together, and you still have this really tight equation, right? I always talk about creating room between the top and the bottom, and
mhm.
they're touching.
So, in this series, we're going to talk about the reality of running a business like Metropolis in 2024. And in this episode, we're going to talk about how it's different from previous years for Anne as the CEO of Metropolis. What's been the biggest, like the smack you in the face difference?
Mm. I think it's the lack of predictability.
Mm,
Uh, so in years past, I know that the market has always been the market and it's gone up and down, but I think that there was kind of a threshold that you could expect to live within, and still kind of make it. This year, I think it's a combination of exhaustion from running on adrenaline and cortisol production in our bodies, and success. So success is also a roller coaster, just like failure
mm,
is. So we've had a certain amount of success, and there was just like a moment this time last year where I thought, I'm going to be able to rest
mm.
for a second, or I'm going to be able to enjoy my success just for a second because
Girl,
I
I hear you. I have been
did.
waiting for that fucking moment for about 5 years intensely and 15 years before that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really, one of the things Tony, our owner, and I always say is like, um, we are growing up, right? We're kind of went from adolescence into adulthood in the last couple years, and while a lot of those things have paid off for us, I think on the other side of that, it's just there's like a new set of challenges, and this year it really has been. A combination of morale, not only from my team, but from me,
Mm.
and the volatility of the market and everything else going on politically in the United States too has been very scary.
Oh, yeah,
Um,
there's that too.
you forgot about that part.
For
Just like
3
an
seconds.
earthquake, just like an earthquake. So like add all that together, and it does
Oh,
feel like a very different year here. And it doesn't, there I don't have that same warm feeling ending the year like, okay, we're gonna be able to, approach the new year with this kind of vigor. So I'm having to dig much deeper
mm.
and find that this year. Because because it's important that we do keep that hope and we do keep that, that strength going and that vigor. It's what keeps the company the way it is, which is a great place to be. But a lot of that comes from me. So you can imagine,
Oh, hell
thinking that you
yes.
have all these things in place and knowing that, no, we're gonna have to kind of start over here.
I got to ask you, as a leader, how much of a role does empathy play in managing this moment? Because you've got to look after the business, and its bottom line. You've got to look after your executive team. You've got to look after all of the staff in the cafes and the roastery and the
Mhm.
admin team. You've got to look after the customers, and you've got to look after yourself and your family. What role
It's
does
true,
empathy play in that?
and the, the owners too.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
their conduit, right? So I always tell people that I have no tangible skill set except emotional intelligence.
Word.
I'm not an MBA. I'm terrible at remembering stuff. Like I really have to work 10 times
Mm,
harder for the same result. But one thing that I get is emotional intelligence, and I can
mm.
feel when that little shift happens, right?
Yeah, wow.
Um, yeah. So I think it was Tony that told me you have to be well. You need to sleep. You need to, take care of yourself. You need to do all these things because we rely on you. And it took me a while to take it seriously. And I do now. I take it very
Yeah,
seriously. It
easier
made a
said than
lot of,
done, though.
right, right, right. But, to me it's a joy to be able to be that person for my team. And it
Mm,
helps me also kind of keep an equilibrium knowing that, I'm the person that they count on to feel safe. I'm the person that I kind of wanted to have growing up myself.
mm.
um, it's important for me that I look in the mirror and see somebody that I really like, or that I
Love
care
that.
about. Yeah, I really think of that, and, I if you've never been to Metropolis, but we only have 2 offices, and the
Mhm.
rest is all open concept, and the coffee machine is way up in the front, and I've noticed through the years that if I'm, you know, rolling out of my office in a bad mood and, like, grumpily going up to the coffee machine and grabbing my cup and blah, 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 that it really impacts, the team.
Mm.
They're reading my facial expressions, my body language, so I care for that now in a way that I probably didn't even understand before. Um, and these are all things that I take into account every single day, and I look at it like a privilege. It's not a weight for me, really. Sometimes being a mom is a heavier weight, right? Because that feels more relentless. um, it's true. It's almost harder. Single mom too. So
Yeah, wow.
yeah. I don't know if
Yeah,
that really answers the question,
it
but
it really does because the I mean, it sounds like from what you're saying, even that small example that you've given, you're walking out of your office, you've got to have empathy for everybody in the room of how you carry yourself as you move through the office so that it doesn't impact other people in a negative
yes.
way. And the reason I ask the question is because I think that there are a lot of people out there right now in our industry that are leaders that are just suffering so much right now because they have to carry all of this a lot for themselves. And they're
Mhm,
thinking about how it's going to impact a whole bunch of other people. And
mhm,
I find empathy to be the most strong value that a leader could have, especially in times that are interesting, like what or volatile, like what we're experiencing. But I also think that that's the value that we don't speak enough about in our industry
mhm,
in leadership. And emotional
mhm,
intelligence is the one thing that people maybe can't name when they see a leader that they gravitate towards, but
mhm,
that's the thing that people trust in a leader is when they have emotional intelligence, because an emotionally intelligent leader sees people.
Yeah. Yeah. It's such a cliche, but it's all about them, really.
Mm.
There's all different kinds of leadership, and that servant leadership is the one I identify with most, although there are, a few different things. But, you know, we have to be there for most of our hours that we have, waking during the week.
Mm.
And it's really important to me that nobody feels, sick on Sunday night because they have to go to work on Monday. I do my best with it, especially now. During COVID, it was the same thing, but it was, like the whole world was coming to an end now. Now this is very industry specific.
Well, and how many of the folks out there listening to this can relate to what I'm feeling right now, which is I wish that many of the people that I worked for cared enough to worry if I was coming to work, not wanting to come to work
Mhm. Yeah.
because it was
And
dysfunctional, right?
well, you see what you don't like in other people, and you try
Mm.
not to, if you're a thoughtful person, you try to
Mhm.
go, I don't want to be like that leader.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like that person. So I spend a lot of time doing that too. And you can't get stuck in that idea that it's just business. It's
Mm.
really easy for men to do that too, specifically to say it's
Mhm.
just business. Don't take it personally. It's all personal,
All
especially
of
in
it.
this industry.
All of it.
All of it. Yeah. It's
If you're
just such a
some
good, easy trap to give
Yeah.
yourself. Like, I'm going to fall into this,
A surefire way to turn off somebody who has emotional intelligence is to turn around and say, don't take it personal. It's just business. Fuck you very much.
Mhm. It's my livelihood. It's your livelihood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, so tell us, how many stores does Metropolis have?
We have 2. We have our cafe up on, Granville in the Edgewater neighborhood, and we have one at
Mm-hmm.
O'Hare that's doing quite well.
Yeah,
But
great.
Metropolis is predominantly a wholesale company,
Okay.
so we're often the man behind the brand.
So, what does your wholesale program look like? It sounds like you guys do a lot of coffee, roasted coffee.
Mhm. We do. So we service. So we do pretty much everything into cafes that you can imagine, restaurants, food service. We're heavily partnered with some significant distribution networks, and we do a lot of grocery.
Mm-hmm.
And then we do co-packing as well, private
Mm-hmm.
label. So we really, during COVID, we threw a lot of stuff at the wall to see what would stick. And unfortunately, a lot stuck, and we're very good at it. So it feels a little, I don't know what the
Overwhelming.
word is. It can be a little overwhelming, yeah. I mean, we have diverse dollars coming in, but it's like, wow, if there was one sure loser, it would be great to be able to just cut her out and move on, but yeah, we do a
Yeah.
little of everything. We also sell equipment and we train. We've trained half the city of Chicago how to make full shots. So, yeah,
Ah,
we've been
that's
around a long time too, so
20, how many years? 20.
21 years this week.
Wow,
Mhm. Yeah,
congratulations.
thank you.
We, in these volatile times, we're going to explore a lot in this series about the volatility of what's happening. But I wanted to ask you before we head into the next episode. This week, the market went from 3.29, then it dropped below $3, and then went to 3.32,
Mhm,
all in the space of about 4 days.
mhm.
Do you guys look at that and say, "Oh fuck," or do you look at that and say, "Oh awesome"?
Well, it doesn't directly impact us in the way that it would impact others, in that we don't the Centrals market is not where we buy coffee, right? We're
Mm-hmm.
specialty coffee roaster, but it does directly impact eventually how we buy and our brokers and the producers that we work with. So usually it's oh fuck. But
Mm,
with the idea as well that it's probably time. It's probably
yeah,
time. Um, but in the that doesn't mitigate the pain in the short term.
perfect.
So we can feel both ways, right?
Well, and it's
And we do.
complex. This moment is
It's very
complex
complex.
for the
It's very
whole
complex.
industry
Yeah.
because, and it's made even more complex by the fact that, I said it on an Instagram video recently and LinkedIn video. It's not like we as an industry decided this is time to start paying the producer more.
No.
The reason we're in this situation is because shit has gone very wrong and there's not enough coffee.
For a long time. Yeah.
And we're in an oh fuck moment. And we're glad that the producers who have got coffee are going to get paid more than they've ever got paid before. The problem is that not enough producers have coffee.
Right. So it was a good combination of that, the come to Jesus, and also the environment. The
Yeah,
environment is changing way more rapidly than we ever thought, right? So, I mean, this is it. I think this is it.
this is the shout out to Darren Daniels, who, when I posted that video, he went boom. It was very much, a lot of people contacted me and said, this is your Michael Baum moment from The Big Short when he's on stage with Alan Greenspan, I think it is. And he says that thing. Or it was the guy from Bear Stearns, I think, and the market crashed in front of them. And we have been talking about this situation happening since 2018 on this podcast.
Yeah.
And people kept saying we were crazy. You're crazy, Lee. This is not going to be a thing. You're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy, you're crazy. Nobody should have been surprised by this.
No, it's the acceptance of something happening so quickly and radically, that I think because it's really hard to say what's going to happen next now. The whole thing has
Oh,
been
yeah.
built on cheap coffee or cheaper coffee.
This is that moment. There's no going back from this week.
No, there isn't.
2024 is a line in the sand. So join us for the next episode, folks, where we're going to talk about what role change plays when things get interesting in a business. See you in the next episode. Peace, love, and peanut butter. Have an amazing rest of your day. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, friends. Please don't forget to show us some love by subscribing, liking, commenting, and most of all, sharing this podcast with your friends. Check the show notes for links, including our sponsors and our Patreon. And stay tuned for more great conversations on the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward.